Episode 1.
One.
Uno.
Uno.
So today's episode, just to loosely give you an idea of what we're going to be doing today, it's basically just an intro episode. We're going to go over some of our home park, childhood park type stuff, how we became an enthusiast.
The origins of an enthusiast.
The origin enthusiast.
Enthusiast lore.
And we'll do like basic intros to ourselves too. So I guess I will start. I'm Zach. I'm 29 years old from Pennsylvania. Wonderful
Old.
state. I am pretty old. I'm getting up there.
Old man from a bad state.
Jeez, bro. Yeah. Into roller coasters. I like video games. I like horror movies, as you will see on the visual podcast, because my background's just littered with stuff. Yeah. Main obsession of mine is roller coasters and theme parks, and that's why we're here today. And I guess a little background about me and Chris deciding to do this would be, how many months ago was it now? Like 6?
5.
5 months ago, we had a mutual friend that kind of brought us together, and we got in a Discord. The more we talked, the more we realized we both are obsessed with roller coasters and theme parks. We said most of our friends sometimes don't want to put up with our theme park talk, so we'll just start a podcast and talk about it all we want.
We decided to put an end to the punishment of those that do not care and decided to put it in a place where people that actually cared about it would be able to listen to it.
General public, bro. They don't get it.
They do not.
No, I'm not about to start this podcast like we're some general public hating enthusiasts. Yeah, I'll let Chris tell you guys a little bit about himself.
Yeah, my name is Chris. Age not disclosed, not important. I'm from Virginia. I'm from New Jersey originally, and I'm from Virginia, which informs some of my origin story of getting into roller coasters and theme parks. I am a Twitch streamer at twitch.tv/pizza thief with 2 Fs. I like to stream. I like to play music. I've been playing in bands for as long as I can remember. I like Overwatch a lot. And obviously, probably my most passionate hobby being roller coasters and theme parks. And that combination of things occupies most of my time and brain power, my brain computing power. I wake up in the morning and I think about how I wish I was riding Apollo's chariot, and I go to bed at night wishing I was at Dollywood. It's pretty much my typical vibe.
Good stuff. Dollywood and Apollo's chariot. Very tasty subjects right there. I guess start things off. We got what we got. First parks. Ooh.
/ coasters.
First parks, coasters, childhood parks, home park. So my first parks would have consisted of obviously Kennywood. I guess I grew up in Pittsburgh. That would also be my childhood home park. Still is my home park. As far as other parks go, when I was just a youngin', I got a lot of family in Virginia, so I quite frequently visited Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and Kings Dominion. Also, there's a little park by me in Pennsylvania too called Idlewild. But I actually probably went there a lot when I was little because it's more of a family park than anything.
Now, was your first coaster at Kennywood or was your first coaster at Idlewild?
My first coaster was at Kennywood. If we're talking like big coaster, or are we counting like a kiddie coaster.
You can tell me about both. You can tell me about both if you'd like. I'm here to
First
listen.
coaster. First coaster would have been like an actual, not looking like it's from a fairground. It would have been the Jackrabbit at Kennywood. And I'm assuming I probably rode Lil Phantom before that. That was my first actual, if we're getting technical, coaster, I guess. And then my first steel coaster, since Jackrabbit was wood, I will tell you my first coaster as well. It was, also not counting Lil Phantom because that's steel. The first steel coaster would have been Anaconda at King's Dominion.
Sorry about that. Turned my stomach a little bit.
Didn't hate it.
I feel
thought it was cool.
concussed.
Then again, I wasn't tall enough for my head to smack off of the restraints, so.
I've been over 6 foot since 5th grade, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've been getting my head beat by that coaster.
As far as going into Kennywood a little bit, if you're, it's very traditional feeling park. Got lots of old wooden coasters. One of them's 100. Over 100 now, I think.
A series of very old coasters.
Great coasters. Phantom's Revenge, love it. Chris needs to get on it. I've been telling him.
Can't wait to ride it. Can't wait to see what all the hype's about.
Airtime Machine. Yeah, I guess I don't want to get too much into it because we'll probably do a episode for each of our like home parks, I guess. I think we were discussing that a little bit, but
Kennywood, cool. Episode over.
Kennywood,
good.
Approved. I'll let Chris talk to you guys about his home parks, childhood parks.
Yeah. So as I hinted at in my personal intro, I grew up in New Jersey. So my first home park was Six Flags Great Adventure. And my current home park is Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. My current home park should be King's Dominion, but I do drive just directly past it. I don't hit that exit, and I go to where the good rides and the good food and the clean park is in Williamsburg. I get that extra hour down the highway, and I get to where I need to be. So despite proximity, my home park is Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I guess Six Flags America would also be like a potential home park for me, but like it's a firm thumbs down from me. But yeah, I mean, I grew up very, very, very close to Six Flags Great Adventure, especially for the last 5 or so years that I lived in New Jersey. We were about 30 minutes from Great Adventure, so I spent a lot of time there as a kid. But my first roller coaster was not at Six Flags Great Adventure. My first roller coaster was at a amazing theme park, just immaculately themed, very well done theme park called Sesame Place in Pennsylvania. And my first roller coaster was Vapor Trail, which is themed as I guess airplanes, rocket ships, something to that effect, with Grover as your pilot. Excuse me. And yeah, honestly, it's a really small, it's a junior coaster. It's a Vekoma junior coaster, but it's kind of a slapper. And we've talked about this before, but there's a triple helix on Vapor Trail, a junior coaster with a triple helix. That's kind of nuts. And I haven't ridden it as an adult, so I don't have a great frame of reference, having ridden like, some of the most intense roller coasters on the planet since then. But boy, that was a hell of an introduction to what roller coasters meant. I think I rode it when I was 6. And by age 8, I was just like a full blown roller coaster enthusiast, riding Batman the Ride at Great Adventure. Batman and Robin the Chiller was my favorite back then. Medusa, which is currently Bizarro at Great Adventure. But I rode everything, and that was definitely a good introduction. It gave me an idea of what this whole roller coaster thing was about, but it also made me want something better. I knew immediately, I want something scarier. I want to feel like I'm gonna die. Um, at a very, very, very young age, and so that was definitely my introduction to roller coasters.
Very nice. I think your first something to brag about. I haven't been on it.
It's sick.
I haven't
It's sick.
experienced the triple helix.
It's really cool if you I know that you're gonna clown me for this, but on my Google Sheets list of coasters that I've ridden, I have them sorted by park. So they all stay together, and there's just the random one in there, Sesame Place, Pennsylvania Vapor Trail as my first credit ever, which is really cool. And yeah, I wanted to mention also, just in terms of like, and as my origin story of getting into roller coasters, like this is 100% all thanks to my mom. My mom put me on these coasters, you know, kind of forced me, really. I have vivid memories of crying in line for different rides, and my mom is a tough cookie, and she said, "You're gonna ride it and you're gonna love it." And she was right. And she definitely put me on this path to where, now I start on January 1st every year making a note in my phone of which parks I'm gonna hit in which month. And what new rides I'm gonna try for the first time. So thanks,
Yeah.
Mom.
Thanks, Chris's mom. And I would like to thank my grandma. She was the one who actually got me very into roller coasters. She would take them on, or she would take me on like everything before. Like my parents were never really big on them. I always rode with her when I was little. She still gets on them, which is crazy to me. Like she goes to King's Dominion and rides Intimidator. Yeah, I guess I would have her to thank for kind of putting me on them. She's always like excited when they're building a new one, so she's very excited for Pantheon. I can say that
Me
too.
too. Me too, Grandma.
Oh.
Me too. Trust me. I've been.
Yeah, so we like share the same birthday and stuff too. So like we used to just go to a park for our birthday. Fun stuff. But I would say just riding them with her and just talking with her about them and all that stuff definitely pushed me towards enthusiast pretty early on. And I would say the big turning point was getting a computer and getting on like theme park review, the forums. That was kind of what sparked my interest even more, and where I gained most of my knowledge back then about like everything going on that wasn't going on in my home park. And I'd say even before that, I would probably say Roller Coaster Tycoon. I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon before I got on those forums, actually, now that I think about it.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
For
That's
sure.
what taught me everything I know.
Yes, sir. Got all the expansions. I don't even remember. Do an episode on them for sure one day.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. From Roller Coaster Tycoon to Planet Coaster.
The evolution.
And everything in between, certainly. Yeah, I obviously have a similar a similar story, which is to say that I used to hog my family computer, which was in the living room, right next to the TV. From the moment I got home from school until bedtime, I'd be on AIM Instant Messenger, talking to little emo honeys, setting my away message, while playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. And yeah, that's That's actually probably how I got into video games really, like, into playing PC games, is that just every single expansion came out, like, every single map, every single part of, like, the campaign mode that you could possibly do, I did it all. Um, I tried to rebuild my favorite parks, which is something that I even sort of attempt now on Planet Coaster, although I'm not as good at Planet Coaster as I was Roller Coaster Tycoon. But yeah, like, very, very similar story, and kinda gave me, like, an interest in, like, almost like the broader subject of theme parks and how they're managed.
Mm.
Just like down to like marketing, applying just like as a teenager, even applying the stuff that I was working on in Roller Coaster Tycoon to like what real life amusement parks were doing was like kind of interesting, and definitely got me very excited about theme parks as a young kid. But I was not on the forums as much because my mom refused to pay for internet, so we had the free trial internet through Costco or whatever. So
Mm.
actually loading a forum long enough to be able to read things was really difficult for me. So you were all up in there. I was more on, I was more offline.
I was I was limited in the sense that when I was on it, mom couldn't be on the phone.
Right. Same.
So
And my mom loves to talk on the phone.
yeah, back in the dial-up days. And then I'd say like getting more into the enthusiast realm just was from staying frequent on that stuff. Getting the new Roller Coaster Tycoon games, going to my home park more, the Virginia parks more. Then I remember like my big turning point too when it comes to like visiting a park was probably when I went to Hershey pretty young. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, like theme parks are sick. And I went to Disney when I was like 8, but I don't really honestly remember it that much. But that probably would have been
Disney
another big thing if I did remember it. That would have turned me enthusiast, but I honestly don't remember
Disney and
that.
Universal, were very big for me, and I was fortunate enough to visit a couple times, both of them as a kid, and that was a whole different avenue of like, in addition to being a roller coaster enthusiast, I'm almost like more of a dark ride enthusiast that like I want to ride all of the greatest dark rides on earth, and unfortunately, we live in America, so the only good dark
Parking
rides
lot
are in
coasters.
fucking Florida, yeah, and so I don't really get access, to some of the amazing stuff that people get in, Japan and Europe, on the dark ride front, but no, I mean, I think I would say, like, we should do an episode of dark ride about dark rides. Let's make a note on that first,
For sure.
secondly, it's funny, like, I call myself an enthusiast now, and I could tell you, like, all of the lingo and the slang, and, that's only been for a couple of years. I've always been an enthusiast, I just didn't know there was a name for it, if that makes sense, and it really was probably only, like, 4 or 5 years ago that it all started because I ran into somebody wearing a roller coaster T-shirt, at an amusement park, and I don't even remember what park it was, but I think it might have been Great Adventure when we were visiting my grandma. That guy had a shirt on for
Like a
Steel Vengeance
Yeah,
or
like a
like,
different coaster that's not in that park.
and so yeah, we started a conversation, and he was just kind of dropping these words and talking about these YouTube channels, and I ran into him a couple times throughout the day, and he and I chatted, and I was like, wait, I don't know why I didn't think about this, but there's probably other people that are like obsessed with roller coasters too. And that really put me on like a bad path,
A
towards
b
like just spend oh yeah, I mean, like building spreadsheets and getting on the roller coaster subreddit like every day. Like I sort by new every day. It's one of the first things I do in the morning, and I scroll and I look to see what's going on, and countless hours of YouTube videos, and like I said, planning what roller coasters I'm gonna ride for the first time every year. Becoming a season pass holder at Busch Gardens and Great Adventure, and just like putting a lot of time, money, and energy into that being like something that I'm really passionate about. Yeah, it was like a tiny little snowball that just rolled down
Kept
the hill, and it's
rolling.
now like yeah, and now it's just like a huge part of my life.
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, man. Love that park so much.
Yeah, my happy
Love it.
place.
You just said it, and my mind went there right away.
I at some point I'll share in the Discord the countless photos of me standing in the entrance when you very first get in the England area.
Dude,
There's just
you're just immersed like right away there. It's crazy.
and I really literally I've had this habit for years where every time we walk in, I get a picture taken of me in the entrance and I tweet and post on Facebook every time. Good morning from my happy place.
Let's
Every time.
go. I have
'Cause
not
it
had
is,
the
it really
pleasure
is.
of seeing that yet because you have not been there since I've known you, I don't think.
No, I haven't. I haven't. I was supposed to go in December and then something came up.
We'll leave it at that.
Something
Some
came
of you
up.
know. Probably most of you that have been asking about the podcast know.
I already know, yeah. Yeah, I did
Um,
have a reservation, let's just put it that way. I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it.
um, what was I gonna say next? Oh, I was gonna get back into the games, honestly, and kind of where I'm at with it now, for me personally. Uh, Played all the Roller Tycoons as they went on, and more recently now, me being an enthusiast is more obviously COVID is going on, but even before that, I'd say I'm more present online than I am like in person when it comes to like traveling or whatever. I don't really get to as many parks as I used to. Uh, so I kind of live on the internet with it now.
You
Look at
just
all
be
the
riding
news.
rides in your Planet Coaster sandbox parks.
I just be watching POVs, making my own coasters, making my own parks, just that type of deal. But I mean, I'd say I kind of fell out of it for a little bit too. Uh, I still love them. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't keep up with it as much until I built this PC I have currently, and then I got Planet Coaster, and it kind of like just reignited the flame in me where I was like, I need to see what coasters they're building this year. I need to like it all just came back to me in like a wave of like I need to get back into this. Like I miss it. So
We do frequently talk about roller coasters that are being built like across the planet as if we'll ever ride them, like, oh, can't wait to see what that element is like of a coaster in like Belgium.
bro, mega
Yeah,
coaster, dude.
I didn't mean to start you on that.
We'll get into that someday. Don't worry, because we'll probably sit here and talk about it for an hour. Just how insane that thing looks.
We could
Absolutely
do
nuts.
now that it's 2021, we could do most anticipated coasters of 2021 episode, like, I don't know, next week? 2 weeks from now?
And it don't even got to be stuff that we like know that we could get on.
Oh, no,
I
all over the
mean,
planet.
we're looking at all of them, baby. Even if I may never get on it. You've been talking about so much shit recently with like new coasters and stuff like that. And it's just, I love it. Makes me
Yeah,
feel like a kid.
let's consider this a potential teaser for a, roller casters, uh, most anticipated coasters of 2021 list coming soon. Wink.
Wink, wink, wink.
Number 1, Pantheon, end of list.
That and Mega Coaster. Okay, we won't get into it, but that and
No,
Mega
don't do it.
Coaster are my
Don't do it.
two.
Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait.
All right. uh, Speaking of, I guess favorite. We won't talk about the favorite 2021 coasters. Let's do. You know what? Sorry about favorite parks. That'd be good.
I'm down.
Let's jump into that. Naturally, home park Kennywood. I mean, that's just a given for anyone. I feel like. Just to touch on that, just been going there forever. I love the vibes. The vibes are right at Kennywood. The
100.
food is right at Kennywood. Well, it's not that great, but there's one spot. If you're from Pittsburgh, you know. If you've been to Kennywood, you probably know.
It's something about French fries, right?
Potato patch, fresh cut French fries. They cut them
There
right
you
in
go.
front of you, straight from the potato. Literally right in front of you, and then they throw them
They
in.
cut them right in front of you.
Dude.
It's
They
like a
taste
hibachi
so
potato
good,
place.
dude.
It's like
Bacon,
Benihana's for
cheese,
potatoes.
gravy. Honestly, it is, dude. Kennywood also is kind of known, probably just because where it's at in the park, it's literally right next to the potato patch. But they're kind of known for like their lemonade too,
I did not know that.
because they also like make it in front of you.
They make the lemonade in front of you too?
Yeah, it's not no like we pour the sugar in the machine or the powder in the machine
They
type deal. They got the machine. Like crush the thing down on the lemon.
Damn.
Another big part for me.
Is that all you like about Kennywood is the potatoes?
I don't want to get into it because I feel like I will just start talking about Kennywood and not stop.
Okay, guys, my favorite park is Kennywood, and the reason is because of the fresh cut French fries and the fresh squeezed lemonade. Next park.
The vibes are right. Come back for the Kennywood episode to find out why.
Okay. I like that. I'll take that.
That's what we'll leave it at. You got to come back to know.
Good enough.
So there, I would say I just want to touch on like 3, I think, and not get too much into it. But I'd say Kennywood, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, which don't tell Kennywood I said this, but that's my favorite park.
Yes, sir.
And then I love Hershey. I don't know. Have you been to Hershey?
No.
I love
it was on
Hershey.
my list for 2020. That's Taylor's favorite park. She's been 100 times, maybe.
Yeah. That new entrance is beautiful too. I haven't been there yet with it, but
I only waited until this year because I wanted everything to be open when I go. I would have gone last year.
Yeah.
But I wanted to wait because some of the stuff that's on my like bucket list for Hershey has been closed due to Miss Rona.
Naturally, after we talk about parks, though, we're gonna get into coasters, but I'll say now, Sky Rush. I love it.
Thigh Crush.
That has a very. I don't think I've seen a coaster divide the enthusiast community more than Sky Rush.
You can bet your bottom dollar that I am going to love it because I am not a baby.
Literally, like, I always say this when people, anytime I've talked about this ride to somebody, but like the POVs make it look so not what it is. It's weird. Like every other POV you watch, and if it's a ride you've been on, you're kind of like, okay, like that's the ride, but like still, it feels it does it justice enough. Sky Rush is like the opposite. I feel like the POVs like that ride literally feels to me like it should not be going that fast a lot of the time.
Listen, I won't go on a tangent about this. Like everybody complains about the Sky Rush restraints, right?
Yeah.
That is the dividing item. I will complain about a restraint if the ride also sucks, right? Anaconda, trash ride, the restraints give you a concussion. I'll complain, okay?
Yeah.
Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal, trash ride, the restraints gave me a bruise across my entire torso, okay? Bad ride, bad restraints. there are rides that hurt like shit that are worth riding, right? And I've been under the assumption all along that as when I ride Sky Rush, I will walk off that ride and say, "Yep, worth it." Like,
I feel
kick
like
my
you'll
ass.
like it.
I will. I guarantee it. It'll get in my top 10 minimum, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I know based on what I like about coasters like that. I can't wait. But anyway, please continue.
So I guess I'll stop talking about that for now because it is in my top coasters that we'll get a little bit into. But I want to let you talk about your favorite parks. A few of them.
Yeah, I also have 3 that are worth discussing. My favorite park is Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I make no mystery about that. I already touched on it in this episode, but it is literally my happy place. If I get into a funk, like it's so easy. It would be so easy to be Taylor, right? My girlfriend. If you see me for a week and you're like, God, he's really feeling down. He's having a rough go of it. Just take me to Busch Gardens on Sunday. And it's fixed. Like I'm telling you, like I'm like it's erased. All the bad feelings are gone. All the good feelings are put in its place. Um, the smell, the food, the cleanliness, the views, the theme. I just like across the board, I have been in love with this place since the first time I visited. It is truly special, and it's like a regional park, right? So I feel like it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. But if you have ever thought, I should take a trip to Virginia to visit Busch Gardens Williamsburg, just do it. Just do it. I'll pay for your ticket. Just do it. Like it's 100% worth. The roller coaster lineup gets better every year. It seems like, especially the last couple years. And they're adding more. It is a spectacular park across the board. I love it. I love you, Busch Gardens.
What do they call it? Drakenspire?
Yes, Dragonspire Pantheon will probably open this year.
They
That's what they're
tweeted something
saying.
about it today. We're
Yeah, they
recording
said, but
this.
they changed the spring
Okay.
2021 thing to just 2021, which has me stressed because I re-upped my season pass.
I didn't notice that. Now you got me like
Yeah,
thinking.
they changed it, and they changed it for Iron Gwazi too, but I won't get into that. Whenever I can ride it is good because going into 2020, I was like, my number one goal this year is to ride Pantheon, and I'm gonna get it done real soon. And then look what happened. So
Did
whenever I ride it, I ride it.
did they open it all this year, or just for like special occasions?
For Busch Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were open for the little like weekend or not weekend, but like the low capacity special event sort of things. But it wasn't really like they just gave them special event names and stuff, but like it wasn't like they did like the beer fest thing that was like they just wanted to open, I think.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to go for the winter. I think they changed the name of it this year to something else, like Christmas celebration or something. But
I went to that like 2 years ago, and it was amazing.
Their Christmas stuff is all of that stuff. I'm telling you, like across the board, every special event. I love Busch Gardens. I love Busch Gardens. Is that clear, dear listener? Okay. Oh yeah, and the only other thing that I wanted to mention about Busch Gardens is like it. I've talked enough about it, but it has like a special place for me for so many reasons. But like I have memories, like, we came down to Virginia to go to Busch Gardens when I was a kid before I ever moved here, and so it was, like, already, like, kinda like you that, like, you because you have family in Virginia, you've been coming to Busch Gardens, but, like, I have pictures of, like, me and my grandfather and my mom on Apollo's Chariot from when it first opened, like, stuff like that, so, like, it's meant a lot to me for, like, as long as I can remember, and so it's always got that special like, I'll ride some of the rides that aren't good because I remember how good they were for me when I was a kid, like, Pompeii, like, hits so hard every time. It's not
Yeah.
even good. I don't think it's good, but, like, every time I'm just into
That
all of that ride every
nostalgia.
time, for sure. But I would say second on that list and, like, real close to Busch Gardens, I was a first-time visitor of this park, this past year, Dollywood, in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and, I was told before I went that Busch Gardens and Dollywood have some similarities, and, that's true. That's very accurate. All the things I love about Busch Gardens, I love about Dollywood, and, it truly is a 10.5 out of 10 park, like, just good across the board. And I think that, like, Dollywood's roller coaster lineup doesn't get the credit that it deserves. I think people are like Lightning Rod, maybe Thunderhead. Below that, it is what it is. Every ride is good. I'm here to tell you unequivocally, every ride at Dollywood is good. Um, Truly a spectacular park. I love Dolly Parton. That's my number one bay. And so yeah, Dollywood. You want to talk about good food too? Dollywood is like next level. So good. And then finally, this park is kind of a different one from the other two that I've mentioned, in that it's more of a theme park, which is Universal, the entire Universal campus in Florida. And the reason that I love Universal, I love Disney too, but I think Universal does just an absolutely unbelievable job with theming every single, and as a dark ride head, as I have mentioned, um, every single dark ride that you step foot on in a Universal park is like probably 8 out of 10 minimum, except for the couple of shitters they have, which I won't mention. But just an unbelievable park across the board. Islands of Adventure and the traditional Universal Studios, just truly spectacular, and they get better every day.
You
Every
miss
time
Dueling Dragons?
I do miss Dueling Dragons, but I have yet to ride Hagrid's, and I think Hagrid's is definitely a worthy successor from what I understand. I haven't ridden it yet. That was also on my plans for 2020 that got kind of shot.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think that they lived up to like the universal standard with that ride for sure.
There's a possibility
That's
we're
the opinion.
going this
Yes, there
year.
is. Yes, there
Although
is.
we're dummies and planned it before Velocicoaster.
That's why I'm not going that round. I'll come to the next one.
Me and you just don't go because we
I'll
can't
go to
ride
Dollywood.
Velocicoaster. We're like,
I'll go to
we'll
Dollywood
come
again
next
in the
time.
spring, and then I'll go to Universal in the summer. How about that?
That works.
That's my plan.
Down. Down, down, down. So I guess let's anything else to say about Universal before we move on to Velocicoaster?
No,
We
I
both like it. It looks sick.
yes,
That is all.
extremely.
Did you see they tested with the lights on the train? Like yesterday? The video went up?
No.
Brother. I'll show you later,
Yeah.
don't worry.
Yeah. Drop me that link after this.
Looks insane though while it's moving with all those lights on. Crazy. I guess we'll get into some favorite coasters. What everybody wants to hear and criticize us about, I'm sure.
My list.
Disclaimer. Let's do a disclaimer so we don't get roasted. These are our favorite coasters. The reasons are not because we think they're the best in the world or
That's
anything
right.
like that. Chris might think his is.
I do.
Um, as far as what I've been on, this is my favorite. Stuff like that. We're not saying that like it's better than whatever. And some of the coasters maybe we consider theming, stuff like that. I guess basically what we're gonna do is like it's not like this coaster is insane. Like all these coasters are insane. That's why we think they're
All of mine are insane.
all of Chris's are kind of insane.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Slappers.
I think you have some in there too where you take like other things into account.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I can say I've not been to many parks, especially off the East Coast. Very few. Just my personal opinion. No fighting in the comments.
Rip it, brother.
All right. So, start with 5. I did number them. My number 5 favorite coaster of all time. I will get into some reasons because some people are going to be like, what? Probably. Volcano. King's
What?
Dominion. It's gone. It's dead.
Rip to a real
Rip.
one. We miss you.
So this was my first launch coaster. First inverted, I believe. Let me think about that statement. I think it would have been. I would have only been to. Okay, yeah, for sure, because I went to King's Dominion before I ever went to Busch Gardens. And I remember being nervous as hell. Because those are two things that that aren't paired together a lot. Inverted and launched.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember being like, this is a lot. Like, especially for
Volcano
my
was
first of
also
both.
unbelievably intimidating.
Dude, the
The
sound it
entire
made,
thing.
like even just watching it, it was
Dude,
scary. It was
being in that
scary.
queue with the music playing and you're in the tunnels of the mountain, like working your way up, like hearing the ride launch and people scream, and it was way high off the ground too.
I rode it opening year, which I can't
Scary.
remember what age I would have been. I just remember I waited like 3 hours, which is even worse when you're nervous.
Yep.
If you're nervous for a coaster and you're waiting like over like an hour, it's hell.
Painful.
It just makes it even worse. And then you get off and you're like, that was sick. What the hell?
I'll do it
You get
again.
off and you're like, why?
One more
Why
time.
was I about to piss myself in the line? Dude, but that ride was so unique too. Like that, that park has some theming, but then they were just like, we're going to build a giant volcano.
I know that I know that we're both sad about Volcano being gone. Like, I'm still sad about it, but they're replacing it with something very cool. I don't know if you heard.
Yes, I have.
They made they made it look like bamboo.
I have not even looked at like the pictures or anything that had come out. Like, I don't care.
The supports look like bamboo. They used to have a volcano. They used to have a roller coaster that shot out of a volcano, but
Used to be a Smurf mountain.
yeah. Oh yeah. I could get into the lore of the volcano mountain, but I'll
I
save
forgot
that
about that too. They did not build the volcano for volcano.
No, the short version is that there was a bunch of rides inside of that mountain, and then once they closed those rides, they were like, "What can we do with this mountain?" And they were like, "We should shoot a roller coaster out of it." And I said, "Yes."
I went on 3 launch coasters that day. Now that I think about it,
Italian Job.
hadn't been on them. No, it wasn't there yet. This was
Hypersonic.
wait.
I'm playing
I
a
rode
game.
Volcano.
Hypersonic,
Flight of Fear.
and Flight of Fear.
But I was trying to like Volcano was the most recently built one out of the 3, right? Hypersonic came before that, right? Or come after?
Before or after what?
Volcano.
After.
After?
What? It had to have been. It had to have been.
So I was only on 2 launch coasters that day.
No, you mean no? Do you mean did they coexist?
I knew they coexisted, but like I rode Volcano opening year, so I'm saying that same
Hypersonic
day,
was built in
2001. Am I dumb? Tell me if I'm dumb.
Why won't it just tell me when it was built?
Amy, pull that up.
I'm literally searching. Oh, 2001. Yeah. Hold on.
Woo.
And then
I still got it, folks.
1998 was the opening of Volcano.
Okay, yeah. So I rode all 3 that day. Never been on a launch coaster. I rode one, and I was like, "Let's do the other 2."
I do be liking being launched.
That's my number 5. We're doing top 5, by the way, because we might do a whole episode on it with like a bigger list. We discussed a little bit. My number 4, moving on, is Apollo's Chariot.
Yeet.
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia. Make sure you get down there sometime. This was my first B&M.
And the best.
In the best B&M.
Ooh, hot take?
Hyper. Candemonium looks sick though.
Yeah, it does, but it's not better than Apollo's. Next.
You haven't even been on it, dude.
Next.
I feel like the
No
B&M
shot.
Hyper battle gets a little ugly sometimes.
Well, the B&M Hyper battle
Especially
is within my rankings, so.
True. So I forget what you. I get hate. You will get hate either way.
Don't care. I got thick skin.
Has the community decided if Candemonium is better than the two?
The community says the Candemonium is one of the weakest.
Really?
That's what I've heard. It's still good, but it is one of the weakest.
Let me get real nerdy, but is Apollo's and Nitro both hollow track?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because isn't that what they say makes the newer ones weaker? That they're not hollow track? Or I might just be rambling.
You might just be rambling.
I feel like people don't like. I know for a fact I've seen that people say that it sucks because it gets it kind of dumbs down the B&M roar by not having hollow track anymore.
People need to find something else to complain about.
Dude, they do sound crazy though. I remember hearing one in person for the first time. I was like, what the hell? This shit is loud, dude. But yeah, Paul's Chariot. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here, making the community argue, but number 4?
3.
3?
You said 5, 4, and now we're on 3.
Oh yeah. Great coaster. Airtime. Moving on. For 3. Maverick, baby.
Maverick.
I got 2 launch coasters in the top 5.
He has a type.
Both Intamin.
He has a type.
I have a type. We discussed this a little bit before, but I was a very big Intamin fanboy. In the B&M versus Intamin wars of the early 2000s, I was Team Intamin, baby.
We would have been like brothers fighting on the opposite sides of the Civil War.
I just remember riding this for the first time and just thinking it was absolutely insane. I had never been on anything like it. It's super whippy. The transitions are just at the time was faster than anything I've ever been on. The airtime, that little ejector heel. That little ejector heel.
That little ejector heel down there.
Let me tell you a little bit about that ejector heel. That ejector heel felt nutty to me the first time. I got out of my seat. Going through the rocks, slow to the ground. I know we talked about that before too. Personally, that for me, it's about when I look at a coaster, I like to go fast and feel out of control. And I'd say the part where Maverick rocks, my bread and butter.
I know for a fact that will be my favorite part of that ride when I eventually do ride it.
We'll talk a little bit. I want to touch on how insane they were at first to put that Heartline rule after the second launch, and then they built it and they tested it and they were like, this is gonna kill people.
People will die.
They said maybe we should take that out. Yeah, moving on. Sure, we could do Cedar Point. There's so many parks. We got episodes for years.
We
Think
should
about
do
it.
the Cedar Point episode after I go to Cedar Point. What do you think?
True. But at the same time, I
My
don't know when
idea.
I'm going to Dollywood. I'm going to do a Dollywood episode very badly.
I am gonna go to Dollywood in the spring. I'm telling you, so you might as well just meet me. You
All
might
right,
as well
number
just-
2. Number 2. Phantom's Revenge of Kennywood. Airtime Machine. Underrated. A Morgan. And it slaps that hard. Also, it's a Morgan Arrow love child, I guess.
That's what intrigues me about that ride, and always has.
Such
is
an
that
interesting past.
The combination is really interesting.
So for those who may not know, it used to be a Arrow looping coaster, but was still also a hyper coaster at the same time. Pretty sure it was like the tallest and fastest inverting coaster at when it was built.
Yep.
Kennywood has this weird thing where they break records. And it's not like a big crazy park. We
The old
currently have
advertisements for that ride are really, really cool. Where they like
when they converted it.
all the marketing is about how it's the tallest and fastest.
Yeah.
No, even like before the conversion.
Oh.
Because they put it, doesn't it hang like off of like a ridge, sort of?
Yeah, the
That's part of what
tallest.
makes it taller.
Another weird thing about that ride is that the tallest drop is the second drop
Yeah.
because it dives into a ravine, and that's when you hit 82. I should know that. 82 miles an hour. 81 or 82, I'm guessing. But yeah, great ride. The little bunny hills at the end, just you feel like you're gonna get launched out of the car because the restraints on Phantom's Revenge are just literally big lap. It
I want to feel like I'm gonna die. That sounds really good.
in like the lap board doesn't really. I've never been staked that ride. Like they just kind of walk by. They don't push down on it. The trains are so comfy too. You're like very smooth.
Also has one of the sickest entrance signs I've ever seen.
So cool. The
10 out of
queue
10.
is weird.
Easy.
Like can't even explain like how that queue gets station, but it's weird. You go over a pathway, it's like a midway at some point. Then you go like under the lift. Then most of it is you're running along. Weird. They have switchbacks, which I haven't seen used in years, but like right at the entrance by that sign, there's like a bunch of so moving on from that, we can talk more. We can talk more about Phantom's Revenge on the Kennywood episode. Can you guess? I'll let you try to guess if you remember.
I already know what it is. I'm not gonna guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just showed you before we started recording. I was like gonna test you and be like, do you remember when I told you what it was? But I didn't for this, so
I've been had remembered.
it is Sky Rush at Hershey Park, baby.
Thigh crush, baby.
Into men.
Listen, I love Intamin, but I ain't chanting that.
Say
battle
it with
hymn
your chest,
for-
bro. Say it with your chest, you B&M boy.
I'm barely a B&M boy, but you know, I'm definitely not an Intamin boy.
The RMC boy these days.
Mostly.
Yeah, Sky Rush, insane. Lift Hill, why does it go that fast? Don't know, but it does. And if you sit in the back, dude, you've probably heard it a million times, but you get whipped over that first drop if you're in the back, just from how fast that lift goes. The airtime, POVs make it look like it's not there. It's there. And the forces are there. It's just honestly a very complete package coaster for me. I
An
don't.
ass beater.
Yeah, it does beat your ass a little bit. I rode it like I remember the one time I went, the line was like super short. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep ripping this thing. And I rode it like times and I was like, okay. I don't know if I can do it again, dude. It's so intense. It's really intense. And the POVs, because I remember watching POVs before I went. I was like, this, like everyone that talks about this coaster like it's insane, but like it looks like it's just going somewhere. I don't know. I don't know.
He's just going
It's
somewhere.
just heading somewhere. But yeah, that's my top 5. I'm gonna pass it over to Chris so he can incite the B&M hyper war upon the viewers.
Listen, I will explain, but my number 5 coaster is a recent addition to my top 10 and my top 5, and it is Thunderhead at Dollywood. And yeah, I mean, I think I've said this to you before, certainly, but I think even if Dollywood did not have Lightning Rod, they would still have an unbelievably strong number 1 coaster in Thunderhead. It is like they might not be 1A, 1B, but it's like close to that. Like Thunderhead is an unbelievably good roller coaster. And I'm telling you, when I was there, I would ride it, walk down the stairs, walk back up the stairs and ride it again. Like over and over and over and over and over again. And like a roller coaster memory that I will carry with me, like something that I can feel, like if I close my eyes and think about it, was early in the morning. It was a Sunday morning, pouring rain. The only roller coaster that remained open in the park was Thunderhead. And I just rode it over and over and over again in the pouring rain. And I have literally never experienced something like that before. Like it was next level. Taylor and I had a Zen ride. Like literally I feel like I ascended to like a spiritual plane while I was riding it in the rain. It was so fast. It felt so dangerous. It felt like it was gonna fly off the track, like at every turn, completely out of control. Like truly a spectacular ride. The station flyover is an amazing touch. It makes it so intimidating. Like when you're getting ready to get on, it flies by. The whole station shakes. Unbelievable. 10 out of 10 roller coaster. I love Thunderhead. I can't wait to ride it again. Number 4 is Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. And I don't have a lot to say about Nitro except it's just one of those kind of like truly beautiful hyper experiences. The airtime, I feel like I'm floating to heaven. Like amazing ride, needs a paint job really desperately. Really desperately, is really hideous at this point. But spectacular. I love the out and back layout. It takes you somewhere. You feel like you're not even in the park anymore when you get to like the back half of that ride, and then you come all the way back with all that beautiful airtime on the way back. I love that ride. But better than Nitro is Apollo's Chariot. Maybe an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's my nostalgia kicking in. But I've talked about Apollo's already. But I've ridden that ride maybe more times than any other ride. It's incredibly rewritable. Like that's another one that I'll get off the ride, get right back on. Um, Front row is really really fun. Back row is really really fun. There's not a bad seat on that ride. Same thing. You go out into the woods. It's really peaceful. The helix is like way more powerful than people give it credit for. The airtime is spectacular. It's a great ride. 10 out of 10 ride. I love Apollo's Chariot. And my number 2 and number 1 are more of a 1A, 1B situation because it's really, really hard for me to say that I like one more than the other. But for the purposes of this list, my number 2 is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. And truly, truly one of the most chaotic roller coasters I've ever ridden. It feels irresponsible. And that's why I like it. It really, truly the first time I heard all the hype about it. I never liked wooden coasters that much, really. Like, I was pretty much strictly steel. I would ride the wooden coasters, but I had never been on a good wooden coaster before, like a really good one.
Mm.
And I think El Toro was my first. And I remembered hearing all the hype about like, "Oh yeah, El Toro is one of the best wooden coasters on the planet, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Maybe? I don't know." I got off of that ride and I didn't have anything to say. Like, my jaw dropped. I had nothing to say. All I could think was like, "I need to go get on it again. I wanna pay more attention." Like, I lost control while riding it. And it's one of those rides, the best indicator on whether or not I'm loving a roller coaster is usually I'm either smiling from ear to ear, or I do this kind of like maniacal laughter thing where I'm just like, if there's a part that just totally out of control that feels, like I said, irresponsible, or I feel like I'm gonna get fired into the sun, like the airtime is so intense, I'm usually laughing. And I laugh my ass off through the duration of El Toro because it's so, so good. And my other
A
little tidbit.
machine, right?
Absolutely, and on it, and there's just parts of it, I'm telling you, that, like, you can't see what's coming next. Like, it whips around turns so fast, and it doesn't ever stop. Like, you think, like, there can't possibly be more on this ride, and then there's just more, and it just keeps, like, whooping your ass. And my fun little personal tidbit from this past year on, El Toro is that my nephew is a budding enthusiast, and he's 8. And I took him to, Great Adventure, over the summer, and, he got to ride his, first couple of big boy roller coasters, and the first one was El Toro. And we rode it first thing in the morning. It was the first ride we went to. He got to ride front row and a back row, one after another. We just got off, walked right back on. And he is maybe the world's biggest El Toro fan after doing that. He got himself a t-shirt. He got the little Coaster Dynamics model that him and I built. And he talks about, he'll FaceTime me every now and then and talk about our time on El Toro together, because he's obsessed with that coaster now. So he and I share that obsession big time. But my number one,
Here comes the
uh,
folks.
which, who knows what condition it will be in when it's reopened this at some point this year. But my number one is the unbelievable RMC lightning rod at Dollywood. And again, I might ride El Toro in a couple months and say, never mind, El Toro's number one. And then I'll go ride Lightning Rod again. And I'll say, no, Lightning Rod's definitely number one. It's hard for me to decide. But Lightning Rod is just I hard to explain. Hard to explain. Every part of that ride is good. The airtime is unbelievable. The ejector is unbelievable. The quad down is like truly checks in the take a giant, like, wide, thick black Sharpie and check off the box stuff. Makes you feel like you're gonna die, because it literally feels like you're going to be fired into the sun multiple times on that ride. I wish they would run more than one train. Like, that doesn't seem like a crazy request. Maybe that'll be fixed when they reopen. But yeah, just a life changing roller coaster. Same thing. Got to ride that in the rain. Had a similar experience as Thunderhead, where it just felt irresponsibly fast in the rain. And
Yes, are you very attached to it, like staying well, obviously it's not going to anymore, but were you attached to it staying a wooden coaster, or are you just kind of like, as long as it rips? And
I have like two sort of caveats on that, which is that, one, if it rides the same, like if it doesn't feel like it's a changed coaster because they replaced the wood track with the iBox, I don't give a shit how you classify it. Like, it doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care if it's a wood, if it's a true hybrid, if it's steel. I don't care. I just want it to be fun, and I want it to be open, right? So that's the most important thing, is like, I don't care what they do to it, as long as it doesn't change the core ride experience and that it's reliable.
uh,
Uh, 'Cause I rode it this summer, like, the one weekend that it was open all year, pretty
yeah,
much.
this
Like, it was
dude
open,
lucked
like,
out.
twice.
This dude lucked
And
out big
it was
time.
open for 3 days, like, literally, it was open for 3 days, and I was there for 2 of them, and so I got really lucky, and that honestly, like, I've been going to church ever since then because, the Lord answered my prayers on that one. I said, I'll do anything if I can ride lightning rod," and then it just happened to be open when I was there, so, kinda makes you think, but the second thing I would say is that, I don't know what the second thing was. Just as long as it's good. I just remembered.
As long as it's good.
I would be very appreciative if they would turn the launch speed back up to what it was when it opened, because I have never been able to experience that. I'm here to tell you right now, dude, you've never ridden it. That launch, the way that it was when I rode it, was enough. I want them to crank that dial up just a little bit more to what it was when it first opened, so I can experience that too. Because
I've never ridden.
I've never rode it.
I never rode it.
Lightning rod.
Lightning rod at Dollywood down in Tennessee. But from what everyone has said and that I have read, like when it was launching, how it used to launch, it was just, and like you said, you rode it and you can't even imagine it being more wild than it was.
I cannot. Especially like back row. Back row, when you hit the top of the lift hill, the train is long enough that it starts to crest the hill. So the front of the train is already down here, starting to whip, and the way that it comes over that lift hill, it kind of pulls it like it whips the whole back of the car down. I can't imagine if it was faster. Like I really can't. It's hard to imagine, but I want to know. I want to know what it's like. So, Dollywood, if you're listening, turn the dial.
Dollywood, if you're Dolly Parton,
Dolly,
if you're listening.
Turn that dial up to 11 for me, please, honey.
Yeah. That's lightning rod. That's Chris's list.
Yes.
That brings us to the end of episode 1 of Rollercasters. We did it.
Lightning rod ribs episode over. Thanks for listening.
Before we go, we'll dive into what we expect from the future of this here podcast. I feel like the first question people may ask when it comes to podcasts are like, are there going to be guests? I feel like that's always what people ask whenever a new podcast starts up. So we would like some, yes. Me and Chris have talked a little bit about it. We have some friends we would want on. Me and him watch a lot of Coaster YouTube, and we're hoping we can get in touch with some of our favorite content creators on there. And as far as like parks go, we have some friends who have home parks who they're probably more knowledgeable about than us with.
Yes, certainly.
And I want to shout her out too, as I'll talk about her. We have a Disney connoisseur in our friend group, Sammy B. Disney World.
Yes.
To be clear. And she provided us all the art you see. That has all the art you see anywhere that has to deal with this podcast. She drew it. That's all her. So shout out Sammy B. We love you. We appreciate you.
The greatest to ever do it.
The greatest.
The
amazing artist.
Better friend.
Better friend.
Right there, baby.
And the social medias will link below if you're watching on YouTube. I think we are going to try to get this audio somewhere, maybe. Just audio.
On the internet.
On the internet somewhere. Hey, it's day 1. It's only my first day out here. So, and something exciting too is me and Chris both stream on Twitch, and we're going to be posting these every Friday, I think is the goal. And we're going to alternate between our Twitch streams, but we're going to watch the episode early with you guys the week that it's getting posted. So, like obviously this will be up after that, but I'm premiering the first episode this week on my Twitch stream. Chris will be next week. I guess you could say you have a day plan next week right now because
Tentatively Thursday. Tentatively.
Just a little watch along. We discussed we're just gonna pull it up on screen and let it play and leave our mics on, really, I guess. And I don't want to pause too much, but if like someone asks a question or something, I'll pause, obviously, and answer your question, stuff like that. But yeah, we thought it'd be a cool little thing to do. And because we know a lot of you are coming from our Twitch streams. And hello. We love you.
Hello, Zach's Twitch chat.
Hello, just my Twitch chat.
Hello from the past, Zach's Twitch chat. It's me, Pizza Thief.
Yeah, we wanted to give back to you guys some way. So y'all get to watch it early with us every week if you would like to. Again, social media is linked below. The next Friday, we don't want to spoil the topic yet, but I think we know what we're doing.
Roller coasters.
More roller coaster talk.
Spoiler alert, we're talking about roller coasters.
God, let's go. We have a Discord. We're going to be integrating questions from you guys. The future looks bright.
Get your questions in, Yita Pizza.
You want to bully Chris for putting Apollo over Nitro? Even though I would probably do the same. I just want to give him a little shit.
You can't bully the bully. You know what I mean?
True.
You got to get me off this episode.
This man just flexed on episode 1. We are out. We love you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.